Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Business Inside the Game. I'm your host, Baron Davis, and Business Inside the Game is a platform for members to gain thought leadership, insight, to collaborate, to look at investors, entrepreneurs, athletes, entertainers, C-suites as one ecosystem, and to look at coming together as thought leaders to solve problems. But today on Business Inside the Game, talking about a problem solver, I would like to introduce this young lady as a conductor of brand building, a creative director to success, right? The utility person, if we were on the team, the glue that builds the team and keeps the team together. The epitome of success. The theme of success. From Miami, Florida, all the way to Colorado with the Buffs. Growing from assistant to general assistant to founder, and establishing Full Pictures, Fortune Magazine's most powerful woman entrepreneur in the year 2010. In 2016, worked with former First Lady Michelle Obama on Let Girls Learn campaign. The co-founder of DGNL Ventures, an early stage venture fund focused exclusively on the consumer sector, the conductor of consumer. Ladies and gentlemen, Desiree Gruber.
Thank you so much. I love it. I think that's great.
Welcome. How you doing?
I feel great.
Thank you for coming. I know you don't usually do, podcasts. I know you get requests.
Yeah.
But it's I feel like this is a huge honor because
thank you.
You've watched Big become,
Yes.
From a concept now to a platform, now to a show. And you are, the essence of Big, Business Inside the Game, right? Walk me through just like your journey growing up.
Yeah.
Going to college, right?
Uh-huh.
And like you're it. Like who was the person that gave you like the it that you were like, oh, I can go and do what I want to do.
I grew up in a military family. My dad's Green Beret, and he was many things. He had a travel agency, became a state senator in Florida.
Oh wow.
And he loved systems and structure that the military gave him growing up. And that for him was leadership and structure. So he wanted all his kids to be leaders and to be structured. And it was hardcore. It was not fun growing up like that. This is the kind of thing like if you're every minute late home for dinner would be push-ups.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you're 5 minutes late, you got 10 push-ups, 10, you get 20. And there's a point you're like, I can't do this many push-ups, so I got to get my butt home.
I better get up on time.
Yeah. And it was inspection on Saturday morning. It was hardcore. And for a girl, I felt none of my girlfriends had that experience at home. My dad was like one of the only ones. And I remember he believed for a long time, there was like sneakers, like, New Balance or Nike. He was like, no, Army boots are the best. Got to run in Army boots.
No way.
Yes. No, this is not a joke. And I would like, when my girlfriends were coming over, I would run in the house first and like take his Army boots and try to throw them in a closet. And so that I didn't want them to see them because they'd be like, why does your dad have Army boots? And I'd be like, I didn't want my friends to know what was going on, this military leadership at home that I was under.
That's
so
incredible.
But I look back and it's amazing, of course. And I realize like what a gift it was to us to understand structure and to think about things like that and to think about leading. We went on a family vacation when I was like, I don't know, 7, 8. And he's like, you're the boss of the family. You are running this trip today. And here's the tickets, here's our passports, and you get us from the front gate to the check-in. And I was like, And I really thought with my little brain that I was running it.
Yeah.
Obviously, my parents were there and they were running it. But
masterminding the whole thing.
I thought I was. And it was like he gave me the challenges and I believed he was challenging me. He might have been phoning some of it in, but I took it as a real challenge that I was going to level up to that. So in our family, everybody had to join the military for some stretch of time. So University of Colorado, my dad had studied there. He's a big fan of the school. It's so beautiful. It's the base.
I've never been.
Oh my goodness. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. Literally, Boulder, Colorado has the most beautiful days of any city in the US. It's like the most clear days. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's really stunning.
Like in the summertime?
All year. Like it'll snow one day and then it's blue sky the next day.
Oh, wow.
With snow and blue sky. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I was in the ROTC program there, the Army, and I was sort of like, I did not want to do it. It was not my choice. And my dad basically said, if you don't do ROTC, you will be dishonorably discharged from our family. As an 18-year-old, I was like, okay. So I joined. I wish I could say I soaked more of it in and I really tried my best. I tried medium and I sort of was running a slight scam, like, not going to, because 4 a.m. PT was not my idea of a good time.
Yeah.
I was a freshman. I wanted to have some fun here. So I got out of some things that I wish in retrospect you realize would have been good for you. But what I did get was a leadership training and read a lot of books and studied a lot of leadership styles and understood how the biggest number one thing I got, which I think is very important, and the reason I'm here today and why I love what you're doing so much is that I think everybody should get coaching and leadership training all the time. That's your job. If you're running a company, if you are investing money, your job is to be a continual learner, to get better at what you're doing and to see if there's something new and what's going on. What I learned in the military is that everybody comes to the military with a different mindset. And so I was running a scam. I didn't want to be there. My dad, I was going to be discharged from my family or I was going to join ROTC, right? Yeah. So I joined ROTC. That was, that was my choice. Yeah. So then once I joined, my choice was I wasn't there because I chose it. So I wasn't there going like, I can't wait to like kill it on this assignment. I'm going to do great. Other people there were there because that was going to be their career. They were in officers training. This is a big honor to do. I didn't realize at the time that it was an honor for me to be there.
Yeah, for sure.
I was phoning it in.
When you're young sometimes, it's just like, you're exploring.
Yeah, it was what it is. But what I did learn is that we think when we come to a leadership situation that everybody's going to sit down with us and that they're thinking the same thing we're thinking, like, let's kill it. Let's do a great job right now. We want to like win the day. Yeah. There's people sitting there going like, I don't want to be here. That was me. I don't want to be there. So I wasn't thinking I'm going to kill it that day. Somebody else was thinking, I want to get like such a great grade in here. I want this military leader to think I'm the star and to pay for me to go to be airborne, to go to jump school. Everybody in my class was thinking different things. And I realized right then, I learned everybody's coming but they thought I was thinking that, but I wasn't. And my dad would come to visit and go and shake hands with the leadership there. And he'd be like, my daughter is so great. And they would be like, yeah. And I was like, but
you were playing the role.
Yeah. And I realized in life, as you're leading people, do not be fooled and think that everybody has the same drive and desire to get the outcome that you do.
Right.
So then how do you, as I got older and learned more, because I started leading teams and I'm like, holy shit, I'm the one now. And I want this kid to be doing what I need him to do.
It's different.
Now I'm the one. And then how do you speak to these audiences? So part of what I learned in my leadership training there is the messaging. How do you get people to follow you, to want to follow you? Military does it like, you're out if you don't follow the rules. If your boots aren't shined, if you're late, it's done. You're done. There's a really set process of how they do things, which is when you're leading that many people, they have to do it like that. We're lucky in most jobs and companies, you don't have to have such a strict protocol, but you do in the military because one person is out of step, somebody could die. When you think about those programs, it's like a really serious thing. A life is on the line. And what we do every day, a life is not on the line, but I want to go to bed at night knowing that we did our best, that we like uncovered something new, that we change the game in some way. You know what
sure.
I mean? So the leadership training from my father growing up in this military household to going to Boulder and being in ROTC. And then as soon as I could finish ROTC, I did. I just stayed in 2 years, which is just the basic,
minimum.
Yeah, the minimum, which is what my dad said. And at the end of 2 years, I was like, goodbye. And I got props from my dad. He's like, you don't want to do this. I was like, I want to move to New York City. I want to be in the entertainment business.
Amazing.
I want to do other things. But what I didn't know that I had been imprinted with a leadership style and understanding more than my friends when I got to New York City.
Yeah.
And so I do credit my dad and the leadership in ROTC with allowing me to, because if you look at my career, I'm a nobody out of nowhere. Born and raised in Miami, Florida, public schools. My parents are not famous. They're just regular folks. They didn't know anybody in New York or LA to help me.
Right.
I had no lift. I didn't have a building block that somebody's going to put me on to say, look at Desiree. She's in New York City. Give her a chance. It was on my brain, my ability to talk, my ability to connect with people that I was able to make it in New York City, which when my parents sent me off, they were like, try not to get killed in Times Square. Like, avoid Times Square. You don't want to get murdered.
Is that where you moved to?
Yeah. I moved to New York City. No, I didn't live there.
Okay.
But they were worried, and I understand
it was just
now.
like it's a big city and you can get lost.
Yeah. And you could get killed. It's a dangerous city. You know what I mean? And so they gave me a little cash to get going. I got a job as a waitress at night, which was fantastic because a great place to network. I worked in sort of a cool place called the Rodeo Bar.
Okay.
And I loved it. I made a great network of friends who were all strivers, went to New York City, had to work because we all had to work, but we had dreams of things we wanted to do. Yeah. And my dream was to be in the music business. And so I worked as an intern at a record label at EMI Records. And then at a certain point, my boss said to me, I was in the A&R department, so artists and repertoire, trying to sign bands and find the next new thing.
Yeah,
and my
that's
boss,
talent discovery.
Yes, and so I would be like bringing in music, and he'd be like, "That's not that good." And like, and then there's meetings where you decide what's going to be the hit song of an album, and I'd be like, "Track 4," and they'd be like, "Track 2." And then somebody said to me, like, "You're nice and all, but you do not have ears, and you can't be an A&R if you don't have ears." And they said, "You should go into PR," and I was like, what is PR? Yeah. I didn't even know what PR was. Oh, wow. I didn't know. This is not like today where you get internet
it's like, where
and
so
you're
many
searching
jobs.
up things and it's like so easy to find anything. Like I didn't know. And so I did have friends from my network, and somebody introduced me to somebody at Rogers & Cowan, which was sort of a Mac Daddy PR firm at the time. It's still a great agency. Still great, and they had a really great group of star talent. They had a music division. I went in the music division. They had the Rolling Stones. They had Tupac Shakur. And then, Quincy Jones, Diana Ross, some of my first clients that I got to work on.
That's like, incredible.
No, it was crazy. I went to Diana Ross's house one time, and they said to me before, call her Miss Ross. And I was like, okay. But I didn't commit it to memory, I guess. When I walk in the door, it's an elevator into her apartment. It's a large apartment. I go, hello. And nobody's there. And I go, Diana. And there's crickets. And I'm like, oh, God, this thing. And I'm like, Diana. Nothing. And I go, Miss Ross? And she goes, yes.
And then the ears.
And she came out, and I was like, whoa. It was like, a lot of things as a kid that you were like, wow, this is, I'm 23 years old. I'm in New York City in Diana Ross's apartment. It was crazy. Yeah. But it was crazy, amazing. But what I got from that experience was modeling what is top tier behavior for major stars that are able to impact culture. Quincy Jones, one of the greatest culture makers of our time.
Absolutely.
Like the fluidity, what he's able to do is produce other people, create songs, like the theme songs that he created, Sanford and Son theme song, like so many things. It's impossible. His documentary is a must watch if you have time.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah, Rashida produced it. It's really stunning, and it's I got to learn from him directly.
That's incredible.
And I made mess ups with him. And he schooled me and told me, don't do that again. And I sent, when he started Vibe magazine, I sent the magazine to somebody that I should not have sent it to. And he was like, why did you do that? And I said, I thought it. And he was like, okay, don't do that again.
Oh, wow.
from Quincy Jones.
Yeah,
You know, it's hard. So the thing being up front and center with a lot of icons was there's amazing because you have a front row seat to see how they operate in the world, how they think about things. But you also can be, you're on the firing line.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I sort of said, okay, I'm on the firing line. I was young. I was 24. I'm like, I don't mind being on the firing line. I was on the firing line with my father.
Yeah.
Like in my house, he would line us up for inspection. There was one day Gatorade was only for him in the house. We weren't allowed to drink the Gatorade. I'm so serious. And so one day he lines us up, me and my two brothers, and he opens the fridge and he's like, my Gatorade is half empty. I was like, and I just was so scared by being in this lineup. I started crying.
Yeah.
And my brother's like, she did it.
Yeah.
I didn't drink it.
Yeah.
And then my dad was like, you were grounded and you're this. And I was like, well, I didn't drink it. But there was no, you know, but like.
Just the pressure alone.
Yeah, but I survived it.
Yeah.
So then I had more self-confidence. And so being next to these really superstar talented people, Quincy to me is, I keep saying his name, but he's iconic.
Yeah, he's
you know, the Rolling
amazing.
Stones, a lot of people. Then there was up-and-comers. Color Me Bad was a client. I got to see like, what is a pop people when they're in the height of their heat? How are they going to make it through? And
Yeah,
what is that?
What would you say is like the most common trait of like dealing with like icons? Like what like common trait do you feel that they share most?
Yeah. Okay. A quest for excellence, not suffering fools. Like if you're not good, you're out.
Yeah.
That's what I said. You're on the firing line. It's not like a fun thing.
Yeah.
You know, you're on the firing line when you're with superstars because
Right.
they expect really, they're going to be great because they are going to deliver their best outcome they can deliver. So if you're in that orbit, they're expecting you to deliver your best outcome. It's like being on the court.
Yeah,
You
totally.
don't want to let down other players.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't. You have to take care of your assignment.
Take
And
care of your assignment.
And take care of
I'm
your
gonna steal
role
that.
and
That's
play
true.
your role. You
Yeah.
got, we say be a superstar in your role. So whatever role it is for the team, if you're a superstar in that, it's going to help the team accomplish whatever they need to accomplish.
That's how I felt. So, and it didn't bother me if there was something small I had to run and do. I was like, I will get that done. You want ice cold water? What temperature? I'm going to get it back the way you like it.
Yeah.
Like, and it didn't bother me. So I was going to do whatever task I was assigned and be awesome at it. And that called attention to me. And that had people ask for me a second time and start calling the New York office for me because I was in New York. The power team at Rogers & Cowan was really on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I was like a satellite out there. So then I started getting more assignments, helping and handling other clients outside of the music industry because I was good at what I did and I cared and they knew I was going to stay late or get there early or what I needed to do. And that sort of opened my eyes outside of the music business to say, wow, culture. I thought it was music I was really going for, but I realized I like culture making moments. I get excited when culture is changing, when something's happening. For me, I like to see and I like to be a witness.
Yeah.
And then I like to make change.
I love that.
So it's a wonderful job that I've made for myself, starting in PR, which is a wonderful place to be because you are front and center with the talent and you're helping them connect with the public via the media. Now, can you imagine what's happened in the last 25 years? I've had Full Picture my company for 25 years. When I started, the power of the media was so high.
Yeah, it was.
And now the power of the media is really, it's tough. And
I was going to ask you that, just like the transition, because obviously a lot of entrepreneurs are watching this show and people looking to, make the leap from retirement in sports to being an entrepreneur. Like, what was that moment that you knew, like, okay, I've conquered PR. I'm at my capacity. I'm ready to start my new thing. And like, what was...
Okay, I've never had that question. So I love that question. So I was in my comfort zone in PR. It was I knew what I was doing. It's so easy. I could help anybody get things, whatever it was, the outlet, the Today Show, this, that, and the other. Then I started seeing closer production, what was happening in television. I was like, I'm interested in that kind of storytelling. And I was sort of inching, but I was trying to stay in my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I was trying to move it with me. But it's hard to stay in your comfort zone and do something new. And I went to, and I knew I should, my clients were like, you got to open your own agency. We're going to help you. We'll, immediately fund you. We will be your clients. So I went to see a lawyer, and he's since passed. His name is Stephen Paulin. He's an author. He wrote books called Live Rich, Die Broke. And I went to see him, and he said, he had a sign on his desk. It said professional fear remover. And I was like, I think I should open my own company, but I'm really good at where I am. And he was like, she's going to get incorporated today. Get me the papers, to his assistant. And I was like, what? No, I'm not getting incorporated. I work at Rogers and Cowan. But it was that. So that was the moment that got me to go. And then once he said that, I was like, I made a promise in that seat to him and to myself. I could have broken the promise with him. What is he? He's nobody. I met him that day as a lawyer. But that was, for me, the bridge to get out of doing what I was doing and go into the next. And it is hard. It is not fun, because you're really good over here. And then I don't know if I'm going to be good over, because all of a sudden then the balance sheet's on my name. Not everything that Rogers and Cowan I had outsourced to them and just got to be a free agent within there. Now all of a sudden, if I have my own company, that falls on my lap. And will I do a good job?
You have to build your own team.
Oh my God, I was about to say that.
You have to build your own team, because you were on a team, but the team had general managers and owners, and you were a star player on that team. Now you're leaving, and now you're by yourself, and you have to start with you. So I'm going to tell you my secret for what to do. So I was reading a book, and they talked about what they do in the military. I love military, and it's called skunking. You can look this up, skunk, like a skunk, stinky skunk work, skunking. And what they do in the military, when they have a big problem, they get an elite group of people around it. They don't allow other people in. It's a secret. It's called skunk works. And you look at the problem, and you guys start finding a solution. And you as a team member have to come back with ideas for that. So I was like, okay, I need a CFO. I needed this. And I'm going to skunk works each of these. So I'd be like operations CFO. So I ended up in the end hiring an agency to do it. I interviewed like 3 or 4 friends. I said, I've got it. What can I do? Who can I call? So I called friends and said, hey, how do you do your billing? How do you? And they said, oh, you know what? I actually have an accounting firm that does it for me. And then I called somebody else. How do you do it? And they're like, my uncle does it for me. And I was like, I don't like the idea of family member doing this for me. So I just interviewed a few people, and I got the feeling for what they did. I skunk worked it. And then I said, what feels best to me is an agency. And I met 3 agencies. I met a really high-end expensive one. I met a medium, had a nice view in his office, but wasn't. And then I met like a schleppy-do guy at like the ground floor of the Empire State. And I was like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? And so I picked the middle guy. And so I've done that ever since. Like I've been like, okay, I have a problem. I want to do something new. I don't know how to do it. I'm going to skunk works it. And it sort of takes the pressure off of you saying, you have to figure it out.
That's it. It takes and I think that people think like, holy shit, how am I going to do this? And it does feel big. But when you lay it out and you say, okay, I'm going to call, what I'm going to skunk works this, what I'm going to call 4 friends. And one of your friends will say like, I don't have any answers for you. I don't even know what you're talking about. Like I've never hired an accountant. And I'm like, okay, off the list. Next person. Sometimes they'll be like, you're not going to believe it. I've never done this, but my cousin has a company and I'm going to introduce you. And people want to help you.
They do.
Never forget that. People want to help you, but you have to ask a good question.
Yes.
You can't just say, I need help. I don't know what to do. Because how are they don't know where to start either.
Yeah, and what is help?
Yeah.
If you can't define, you know what I mean, at least what your issues or your problems are.
Yeah. But if you come from a team, I've never thought of it like this. I came from an NFL team. Like I came from the biggest Rogers and Cowan, big Mac Daddy agency. Anything I needed was done. Yeah. Same thing you're talking about. It's like being in an NFL, NBA team. Then all of a sudden I'm out by myself. I have to solve these things. There's nobody, I'm looking at me. I got to do it. So you got to find ways to break it down that you feel you're making good decisions. And so that's what I've done over the last 25 years. And I've done it by doing the skunk works. I've done it by asking good questions. I've done it by believing that people usually want to help you solve a problem. I've done it by thinking about leadership as not everybody has the same idea I have in my head. So that comes to a lot of things when you're trying to create something new that you haven't done before. It's storytelling. I was going to hit you up with storytelling today, right?
That was That was I was getting inching towards the storytelling because I think to, just the timeline, like collaboration, right? So, knowing how to ask for help, knowing how to help someone, right? Or help you help someone, like collaboration, I think is, as a part of like your core DNA, right? Working with celebrities, helping them build out their vision. Can you speak to that? Like your mentality around like how, like what do you bring, when you're working with, high-end celebrity to build a production, or somebody who's building, a fashion brand or a fashion summit? Like, what is that approach for?
I mean, Heidi Klum and I created Project Runway together, and that's a great story of, Tyra Banks had America's Next Top Model, and Heidi's like, I would love to have a show. She had really conquered so much at that point, every supermodel's dream. And we said, let's see if we could get a show going. We did not know exactly what to do, but we skunk worked it. We said, like, okay, how are we going to find somebody who does this? How are we going to find this? My next door neighbor was Michael Kors. Let's call Michael Kors and see if he'll be involved with us. But I think people think, oh, I don't know. I haven't done this. I don't know how to do it. But if you were a superstar in one industry, I find you can use the same founding principles in other industries if you're willing to work hard and follow those rules.
Business inside the game.
I know.
That's the inside. Yes.
It's how do you get coached in the right way? And so when you talk about me with celebrities and different superstar CEOs, I'm a coach, and I coach them in their image, their storytelling, how are they connecting with audiences? And so a lot of that is, you have a story to tell, but know that it's not the same story. Everybody doesn't want to hear your story in the same way. It's the same thing. We're in Hollywood. We're sitting here in LA, right? You want to sell a movie. Your ultimate dream is to create a movie. So you say like, okay, I got to get a great script. Or you say, I have a great script. Then I need to get a great producer to say he or she's going to work with me and do that. Then with the producer, you got to go out and raise money. So you need a financier to understand your idea and be willing to put their cash behind you. So what you're going to say to a financier is going to be very different. Your next thing is then when you get some money, you're going to go to a star and say, hey, will you come on board? You might go to Star, but first, all these. Now what you're saying to the star is, we're going to win an Oscar. This is going to change your life. Totally. You don't want to, it's a different message than you're telling the financier. And then you sell it to a studio and then you're like, oh, wow. Like when we sold Project One, we're like, we sold it. This is amazing. We sold it to Bravo. We're done. And then they're like,
no, the work starts.
And now the work starts. Like for a few nights, we were like drinking champagne thinking we made it. And then they're like, okay, you got to start the circuit and nobody's going to watch this if you don't do that or this. And then how do you talk to the audience? Now, the audience does not want to hear the same story that you told to the financiers and the stars.
Totally.
It's a different story. Why is it good for them? What's that? So when you think about storytelling, people sometimes think they make a quick leap to them being on the cover of Time magazine. But if you want to be in the cover of Time magazine, you have had to tell a lot of stories to get there because you need people to stick with you, to believe in you. You need your staff and your team and your executives to know your story. That goes back to me sitting in there in that military room knowing I could give a crap about what they were thinking. And then I was like, wow, later when I was leading, I'm like, this kid could give a crap probably. Yeah, totally. How do I help them carry my message and believe in what we're doing here? What kind of teamwork exercise am I going to do to get them on board to carry their weight and help me? Because you can't win. Even if you have great ideas and you have incredible enthusiasm, it takes more than that to get real winning marks on the board.
How do you get that buy-in? Like, what are some like ways?
Well, you got to think. I do that, and I work with CEOs on that. How do they have the team all moving in the right direction? And at one point, I go to conferences a lot personally. I'm making a digression here. I'll go back to that topic. That's great. I go to conferences because I love coaching. I love getting coached, and I love coaching other people. So when I go to a conference, it's sort of like a very coaching environment. If you're going to the right conferences, you're learning, you're open to soak it in. There's people there who want to share their stories and want to be heard, and they're on stage and you're listening, and it's a learning environment. I'm the coachable person sitting there in the audience because I want to learn. I'm going to soak in something and hopefully extrapolate and take it into my own life in some way. I'm always looking for some new tiny
nugget.
Yeah, that's something. So when I was at a conference, I'm going right back to the point now. She was the CEO of Angela Ahrendts, and she just moved to Apple.
Okay.
Remember, she went to do the stores at Apple, and she was opening the stores, and Steve Jobs was alive, and it was like they were going to open Apple stores, and we're like, what the hell, an Apple store?
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah.
And so it was her job, and she created in some of the stores like an arena where you could come in and learn how to do like photography classes and all that stuff. And she said basically they were hoping to have on the selling floor of the Apple stores like 30,000 employees who would be there preaching the Apple methods. But she said, more important for me is that they go home. She's also a religious woman. She carries a Bible, Angela Ahrendts. And she said, I want them to go home and tell their family and their friends how great Apple is. And it was like a pow moment. It was like mind-blowing for me. Because I was like, these people come to work every day for Desiree Gruber in Full Picture. If they go home and they're talking shit and they're unhappy, I get an F. Yeah. I give myself an F on that. And I would take that hard. That would be actually, and it's funny because that's one of the things I wanted to say today too, is that the biggest, because people say your greatest moment, you have a Peabody Award, all these Emmy nominated this and that and shows and you made money. And like the greatest moment to me is when somebody who worked for me comes back and says, you changed my life. I learned this. I did that. I think that happens a lot on sports teams.
Yeah, it does.
Where somebody who is coaching can change somebody's life. And I'm eminently coachable. And I want to coach. And I want people who are eminently coachable. So for me, how do you get the team to do it? You have to believe in your team. And you have to want to transmit that message and that energy to them. And think about what Angela Ahrendts said. When they go home at night, why are they telling their friends they work for you? That's a really big thing.
It's huge.
If I go home and say, I have a shitty job, I'm not happy, that's not good.
No.
So, and they're not going to be coming to work super energized and doing a great job.
Totally.
So we have a lot of programs at my company. We have Full Picture University. We have teaching sessions, learning sessions. You know, we want to have a growing, curious mindset where everybody is like, okay, I'm going to be better today. I want people to come to work knowing they're going to get better that day.
Totally.
Not just me. I'm working on myself getting better. I want you to be working on yourself too. I want this to be a place where you feel like you got growth and access and connection. And hopefully the leaders at Full Picture are role modeling great behaviors that will help you come up into the ranks.
Totally.
That's what I dream of every day.
Yeah.
And I know that's how I have the blessing of getting to be around a lot of founders. And the greatest founder mindset is when their team is growing and everybody has equity and they feel like they're building into something bigger as a team.
Yep. I feel the same way. I feel like, I look at it as a team perspective. And, sometimes when people are new, either they're free agents coming in or rookies. But, like the goal is like, can you, as a point guard, can you get the people on your team to perform past their capacity?
Yes.
And see past their capacity. You know what I mean? Or to find success with all the things that they're thinking. You know what I mean? And say, okay, you can do all that, but you're going to be really successful doing this.
Yes.
Right. And so it's almost like you want to set people up for success every time. You want to set the table for success, right? You want to identify, and sometimes you want, like my coach used to say, we want to identify and push your strengths. We want to hide all your weaknesses. And so if we can hide everybody's weaknesses when we're playing defense, right, then it is advantageous to us because we're only playing to what we have an advantage to.
Right.
That's
the crux of all advice for running a business. And I wish it was, and that's why I always think like athletes have an advantage in business because the coaching that you got and the excellence and the leadership training of being on a team, that's what you need in a business. But I think sometimes sports stars leave sports world and they think, oh, holy shit, I don't know this.
Yeah.
It's unknowable. This is a new world.
It's in your DNA.
But it's the same. It's very similar. Like you want to coach yourself on different skills now. You had a dribbling coach or a shooting coach. Now you want to have speaking coach,
Yep.
Whatever your
a biz dev coach,
Yeah.
right? Somebody is
Yeah.
teaching how to break down decks or how to break down investments. I know, to your point, it's like you seek knowledge, right? And you want to have a playbook, but you have to go and
you have to build it.
Yes, you have to build it off of other people's plays, right?
Yeah. And the shocking thing is, I think a lot of people think, oh, I don't have that connection or this person. I already said people are more willing to help you than you think, but also a lot of advice and information on having a business, growing a business, being in the business world is available. You just got to look for it. So like when I was younger, I read, my dad slay me, and he'd be like, have you read Jack Welch's book? And I'm like, Jack Welch has nothing to do with me, Dad.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like I should be reading, I was reading different books about like the book on filmmaking and how to and he's like, but he was like adamant, and I have this funny story. My dad also loved garage sales, which to me, like,
this is the best.
It's the worst. I'm like, I want to be like all fancy pants living in Paris and New York.
I know.
And then my dad sends me a book he bought at a garage sale, and it said like $1 on it in like a marker. When they put things in. So my dad and I was like, oh, you're killing me here. And so I was reading Jack Welch's book, and then because he was going to quiz me on it because he had already read it. He picked it up at the garage sale. He read it. Now I'm going to read it. And we're going to have a book club that I don't want to be in.
Right.
And this is true. This is true.
Amazing.
So I'm reading the book
to my kids. I'm so gonna
the worst book club. And so actually and it was so great. So I was reading it and I was like, holy shit. And at one point, now I'd had my own company for like 7 years, and I've never said this publicly. I was going to work one day and I was like, when you own a company, every problem is yours.
Yeah.
You walk in and the front desk person's not there, and there's a FedEx on the floor, and
that's yours.
It's mine. You know what I mean? And so I was like, I didn't sign up for this. Like, I didn't sign up for every single thing to be my problem. And like, why don't people do their own job? And so that day I was going to work, and I was like, and I've been reading Jack's book. And at one point he was talking about in the book that he had to go out on the floor of one of the factories, and he had like $1 billion debt coming due that day, and the bank was calling saying like, we're going to announce this like a crazy thing, like CEO juggling all this crazy shit. And then he had to go on the floor, and the workers are waiting for him, and they're like, the workers are waiting for you. And he's like, I got to go on the floor right now and rile these people up and get them excited to be working in a factory for GE, putting something together, like some small thing.
Right.
And so then I said like, Desiree, who do you think you are? Not going to walk in and fix the FedEx thing. Like, Jack Welch is walking on the floor of factory people. And he said at one point, I could be making this part up now. I swear to God, he said it's showtime, and he went out on the floor and he did a show for the staff that was there that he cares about. But that right then he was worried about $1 billion come and due. And so I walked in the elevator and I go, it's showtime. And I walk in, I was like, hey, good morning, hey. Da, da, da. I wanted to quit that day. My own company. I can't quit, but I wanted to. And I walk in, I'm like, oh, hey, there's a FedEx on the floor. I really think we should. I've seen a FedEx on the floor every day this week. And it makes me think, should we get a basket? Should we do things? Should we do that? And they were like, oh, that's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
And like, so accept that. Because I think people also think, I'm going to start a company, I'm going to start investing, and then the shit stops because I'm going to be dealing with the greatness, moving this forward. I'm going to be doing CEO stuff. And then you find out like, no.
You're going to be taking out the trash and sweeping floors around here. I'm dusting.
But the point about it was that I feel like I got mentored by Jack Welch. I didn't. He didn't know me. I read his book that my dad bought at a garage sale.
That's amazing.
And then I did meet Jack Welch. I practically like jumped on top of the guy. Susie Welch was like, what? And I was like, you are my hero. Do you know the story when you were in the factory? And he like didn't even remember the story. He was like, oh yeah, kid. Okay, great. And so I like really talked to him, and I talked to his wife, and then he said, call me anytime, kid. I like your style.
I love that.
And then I needed something from him like a few months later, and I called, and they said, I'll give you 5 minutes. And he was like on the golf course, and he said, I'll be in the club in 10 minutes. And they took my call and helped me do something.
Amazing.
But that's what I'm saying. People are willing to help if you ask correctly.
Totally.
If you got a good ask and you can ask correctly, people want to help you.
How important, because all of this and the reason why you are the conductor is because we've basically like laid the track for this smooth story.
Okay.
How important is storytelling? Because that Jack Welch book and the story you just told about perseverance, about waking up, and as the boss putting on the face that you have to put on no matter what's going on in the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talk about like telling stories now, right? Because you've done an excellent job of, collaborating with celebrities, helping them build brands, and, storytelling is at the theme of, full pictures.
It's my number one core belief that storytelling is a part of everything, and you cannot find success without having good stories. So as an executive, you got to have signature stories as to why you are the right person to have this role. As a founder, same thing. Why is your team going to follow you? Why are you going to get funded? All these steps that you need to go through to have a company that you're dreaming of, you have to have a good story at each level of that. And I think a lot of times people think, well, I've told my story, I can do it. And then they just sort of phone it in, and then they can't believe they didn't get funded in that meeting.
Yeah.
You got to prep and pitch and practice before you go in for a funding meeting. I've sat in front of founders, I'm sure you have too, where they have such a good idea, they think it's just gonna, I want to hear that. I'm not going to remember 8 hours later the exact stats you gave me of how many units you're moving and the EBITDA. I'm not going to remember all that.
But I was going to say,
what?
How funny is it? Like after they do the pitch, they literally just sit there and like they're done. and
they're like, you ready to fund me? You ready to write a check?
Yeah, like where's the check?
Yeah. No,
it's like I have so many questions and they're not prepared for.
And I'm like, you haven't gotten this question before, dude? Like, come on. But that's the thing, that storytelling never ends. And it's funny because I always say, like, talk to your friends and family about your story. Because I think also people have a misconception that they need to have like a superhero's journey or else they're not going to get, but that's not it.
Right.
Like just real time stories of how you got to where you are. What is your real truth, your real core belief system that you're bringing to the table here? And you better have stories about why that matters to you. And then I'm going to go to dinner that night. I met a founder today. You're not going to believe it. They came to America as an immigrant, lost their parents, and I'm like, this person, the perseverance and the connectivity and the dream. Totally. It's the American dream, this person. I'm going to want to invest, and I'm going to want to talk to other people about them.
Yes.
But if you come in and tell me all your stats and figures, it's a famous thing.
It's
Nobody
so
can
hard
remember
to sell
it.
somebody's company.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to sell someone's story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. You got to remember that stories are how people are moved. They're emotional. They catch us, and they're what is repeatable. It's a famous thing in Hollywood too. They say you got to have an elevator pitch. You can pitch your story at a network, and then on the way out, you say like, "We are, Project Runway of sports. We are Jaws in space." Like all those funny elevator.
You have to have that.
You do, because that executive has to go tell another executive, and so it's called retransmission. Write this down if you're listening.
Write this down.
No, it's so serious.
Retransmission.
Retransmission. I think you think, oh God, I have a great idea. They're going to just go tell everybody they know about it. It's hard for us to do if you don't give me a story that I can retransmit. So I got to walk out and remember 2 or 3 points about your story that I can retransmit to somebody else of why this product is amazing. There's so much coming at us every day. And I like you said, at the end, they go like, ta-da, like I'm done. And you're like, okay, the third pitch I've heard today. I have a lot on my mind. Say why again? Yeah. Like be ready to help people retransmit your story. Totally. So say, give your funny act. I think people think like, oh, tell the crux of the story. Say like, and all this to say that I am living the American dream. Please believe in me. This is why. Like retransmit. Tell me again, and then I can retransmit for you. But if I walk out of there and I can't retransmit your story, I'm not investing and I'm not selling you to anybody. So you failed. And that's the same thing Angela Ahrendts was getting at with the Apple Store, is that if you work there and you believe in this so much, you're going to help people leave the store and retransmit what they learned, because they're going to be like, I met the best salesperson today. They're
going to get the product and come right back because they want to learn.
And they're going to tell 2 or 3 friends. You're not going to believe what happened. And that's what Apple Store did. It became a thing. Going to the Apple Store became a thing.
Yeah.
They did a great job on that.
They did a great job.
So
like they taught people how to be self-sustaining entrepreneurs, how to use their product, how to
Yes.
mobilize their product, and how their product was going to make them better creators.
yes. And so now people, the final, that's exactly right. And what we call that phase of the process of your sales process is called getting your customers to be loyal and loud.
Mm.
Apple customers are so loyal. They love it. And they're loud about it. They love showing their iPhone. They love showing their iMac. It's a thing. Their iPad, they're loyal and they are loud.
Yeah.
I don't find that like Microsoft customers are loyal and loud.
Right.
You know what I mean? They might be loyal
Yeah.
and they might stick with Microsoft their whole career, but they're not loud about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the true dream as an entrepreneur or a company or a brand is that people are loyal to your brand, but they're loud. That's the end game. That's the same thing with team sports. Why, you know, that's the human beings want to be a part of a team. They want to be a part of a group bigger than them.
Always.
Why are sports so huge? Like, I'm a part of that team. I wear the hat. I wear the jersey.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for them. If they're losing, I'm losing this season.
Yep.
But we're going to come back stronger next season.
Yeah, it's
You know what I
hope.
mean?
It's
Yeah.
hope. It's hope.
That's the
I mean,
dream.
yeah.
That's the dream. But it's the same thing with products. Starbucks does a great job at that. Like, people love walking around with their Starbucks cup. It's a thing. You know, when there's a great product with a great message, people want to be a part of that product and tell friends and have it associated to them. And that's the ultimate. That's the dream.
Yeah.
That's you know, the Olympics or the finals.
Yeah.
If you're people walking around with your brand or your product and they love it and they talk about it.
All the
I
time.
call it loyal and loud.
The art of storytelling.
Yeah.
So, last question.
Okay.
As you know, business inside the game.
Yeah.
We talked about storytelling. We talked about intangibles. We talked about perseverance. Your story is all of that and more. An entrepreneur that's an athlete or a celebrity comes to you and say, hey, I'm ready to be an entrepreneur. I'm ready to be an investor. What is your response?
I mean, I'm a go-getter, well-wisher. So immediately I would say, yes, great. Let's get this going. What is the arena? What is your idea?
How can we skunk it?
Who's going to be? So I always want to know, like, what's your story? And then I want to know next, who's your Avengers crew? Like, who is coming with you? So, because I'm betting on a team. You've done this. You meet a founder and they gotta have a good team.
They gotta have a good team behind
Yeah.
them.
So I'm going to say, what's your story? Your hero's journey, why, yes, no, who are you? And then who's the team? Who's your Avengers crew? They don't have to work for you at that moment, but they have to be ready to come on board. And so a lot of times people say to me like, oh, I want to be, I'm going to open this. And I'm like, go learn from somebody who did it. Like, go learn from the best, because I don't want to put my money on something that you haven't had the best, because if you're good at something, like if you're good at what you do, you could shortcut for somebody something so fast. I don't want to pay for you to go make mistakes that could have been shortcutted by having a right team member. That's the Avengers crew standing behind you. I'm not saying that, do you understand what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah, totally.
It's a little, it's not concrete.
Yeah.
But there are people that you've worked with over the years. And that's the thing, when you are in sports, your job is to get good coaching, be coachable, be part of a team, and be a people collector. I also talk about that a lot. Be a people collector.
Yes, your network is
Your
like
network.
your
They say
your family.
Yeah,
you know
your
what I mean?
network is your net worth, they say. So that's what I'm saying, the Avengers crew. Who is behind you that's going to be, it's like an unofficial board. And I do talk about this with a lot of my clients. Like, some of them have a real board they report to, but I really insist and encourage everybody I work with to have an unofficial board, a group of people who are advising them and feel like they're a little bit invested in you. And they want to see you succeed, and they want to see, and they're problem solvers with you. So when you call on them, they have a reason to help you, skunk something with you, but they also might be in a room that you're not in and get some intel and share it with you. And we can't be in every room. We're not everywhere every day. So we need great people bringing back some good time intel. Intelligence, that's what they call it in the military. But for us, it's great real-time information, inside scoop, whatever you want to call it. But that's important. If you're not getting real-time intelligence, you're not going to be winning, because you need to know, if you're reading about it in the trades,
it already happened.
But you're out of date.
Yeah.
It already happened.
The next thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the famous thing about agents. You can't, like, if the book is published, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not optioning the rights.
Right.
You got to meet the writer before that.
Totally.
And that's your job in business. It's the same thing. You got to be out in the field. And you never know where good idea or good support's going to come from. So I also think about that with teamwork. And I think this is going back to the great leaders and the Quincy Jones of it all. Quincy Jones is so polite to everybody in the room. Anybody who works with him will give you amazing stories about what he did with them and how he was there. You don't know where good time intelligence is coming from. So, like, talk to people.
Yes.
If you're in a restaurant and the hostess wants to talk to you for 3 minutes, have a chat. Tell her what your dreams are. You never know where real good... She might say, oh, my uncle owns this. And let me call him and have him help you on this. You never know. When you are looking for help, be open to unusual suspects who might bring good help.
I love that.
Yeah.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The conductor of success. The triangle offense to leadership. The Pat Summit to successful entrepreneurs, winning strategy, winning storytelling, winning access. You're looking at her. Thank you for doing this. Desiree Gruber.
So fun.
Welcome to Big.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Next time. We love you.
So happy. I think we need to do part 2 on just storytelling.
Yes.
Just story. Can
we do one, please?
Yeah. Just how do you tell your story? Because I just think that people think, I'm a brand name, especially if you're a star, sports star, but people need to understand, like, they're with you in your presence. They want to hear a story.
So prepared to pitch you, but they're not prepared to tell their story.
Yeah.
Right? And your story has to have many iterations. So it has to continue to, like, evolve. So you can't, after you get the money, you can't still be pitching the same thing.
No.
Like,
of course.
And you have to tell.
The pitch evolves immediately.
Yes.
Yeah. You got a new pitch, a new crew. And I think also it's a storytelling muscle we have, and we get caught in a groove. You've seen that where people are like, how are you? You're like, oh, I'm fine. And you're not fine at all. Right. Your brain just says, it just kicks that out. So then they go, where are you from? You're like, oh, but you could have told that way better. You just in a groove.
You could have presented that on the plane. Sometimes like, you never know who you sit next to the plane.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That is
you don't know who the hostess is today. You don't know. If you are in it to win it and you want to kill it.
Yeah.
That's like real mode of the people who win. It's in every company, unless they're like, on the quant scale and their brain is like outside of nowhere. Most entrepreneurs did it by pitching and talking to people and getting help from one of the greatest venture capitalists of all time, Ron Conway. He was a computer salesman, went into every company. He was friendly. He was curious. He talked to everybody. He had shares in Apple, Microsoft, like Amazon. It's not normal. Like, I was a billionaire.
Right.
He did it by connecting with people.
Understanding people. And understanding how connect, what connectivity is.
Yeah.
Introducing a lot of people to, like, angel investing and VC investing.
Exactly. And also being thoughtful about sharing your connections.
Sharing your connections.
I share all the time. Do not hoard. Hoarding is a no-no. Hoarding.
It's not going to get you anywhere.
It doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah. It'll drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Because you'll look back, like you'll look up one day and say, oh shit, there's a pile of information that I don't know what to do with.
Yeah.
And there's so many people out here that could be champions of that information. And sometimes we look at everything as monetary value for ourselves, as if we own it, as it's like our proprietary IP. And like, it's all meant to be shared because it should be a part of the greater solution. Yes.
That deserves to be out there, which is what you're doing. Yeah. That's what this is. This is about sharing intel. Yep. This is about not hoarding. Yeah. So when you get great nuggets of things, pass it on.
Totally. And if you can find a team of people to think around an entrepreneur, to think around an investment, to help the right investor get in the game, to help the right athlete or, celebrity figure out their business, it's so much better when when it's a skunk
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's the Avengers crew.